Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Curling Community Connection. We're here live at 5 o'clock with a really good friend of mine. And I do want to take a moment to thank her for her friendship. She has always been just kind of like the army. When you needed somebody to march for a cause, she was the one to go out there and march. She always puts herself above, others above herself. She is an Arizona native. She is a teacher, graduated from NAU with a bachelor's and her master's from there. Started her teaching career in 1995, went for a decade, and then had a son and decided to stay home and parent, which is wonderful. Came back to the profession, and now just her last job was as a kindergarten teacher in the dual language immersion program at Pueblo Elementary School, the Spanish component. Please welcome my friend Becky Williams. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Eric. Thank you for having me, and I'm going to try and live up to your introduction.
Yeah, sure. Hey, the reason why you're on here, not just because you're a great friend, but you're the incoming president of the Scottsdale Education Association for the 2021 campaign year. It is an exciting time with lots of changes. I do want to say for people that have questions for Becky in any capacity, whether it's as a teacher or as a teacher leader, or even as a parent, for heaven's sakes, or how to say some words in Spanish, you go ahead and write that into the comment stream here on Facebook Live. By the magic of Andy Gomez, we'll get it into the Zoom and we'll get it answered as best as we can. So let's just dive right into it, Becky. When I hear kindergarten teacher and I think about the pandemic and going into, shelter in place and having to, how on earth did you corral those kittens onto Zoom meetings? Tell me about it.
Well, it definitely was a challenge that I never expected to face as an early childhood teacher for sure, but just any capacity teaching. And I think I approached it just trying, I knew there were kids that wouldn't respond well to that digital environment, the virtual environment, and it would be difficult for them emotionally. Um, and I worked on developing a rapport with those parents so I could connect with those kids in a different way. And then I just focused on the kids that wanted to show up. Our Zoom meetings were not very academic focused. It was really focused on just social and emotional learning. And I felt like I had an opportunity to continue a learning structure that I had going in my classroom with just our Sanford Harmony curriculum that we used for social and emotional development. My students were used to a format where they would have like a buddy up question that they would share with a buddy, and then they could share out to the whole class. And we did journal writing every day in the classroom. And so that kind of carried over to, we would do our buddy up question in the Zoom meeting, and then they would journal write about it as an assignment that they could turn in later. So it worked for some kids. It wasn't ideal, but none of us knew what we were doing, and we're still figuring it out. So
Yeah, you monitor and adjust, and you meet the
yep.
needs of the kids where they are. So good on you. I love that you talk about social and emotional, especially with the young kindergartners. I imagine they must have been scared and lots of different emotions flying around. So I think you being that stable part of their life, that moment of the day, I think that's wonderful. Tell me though, with the kindergarten kids, tell me something funny that happened on the Zoom. There must have been something.
I didn't actually have anything super, well, I had students that would just different behaviors, but I learned really quick I could mute them or turn off their camera. Things they knew that I wouldn't tolerate in the classroom, but it's different when dad's sitting right next to you on the camera. And, my partner had a student show up in just their underwear. And then we had to kind of publish some guidelines for approaching a Zoom meeting appropriately. And then I did have a colleague on my campus who had a mom who was in a state of maybe walking behind her student to go to the shower, not really realizing that the camera was on her student as she walked behind. So
Hey,
just, yeah, we're
everyday
all
life.
adjusting to this new world, right?
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so let's get into part of your teacher leadership. You and I have something in common. We both went through a program called Leading for Change. When I went through, it was the Center of Progressive Leadership. Can you talk a little bit about those weekends you used to spend?
Um, sure. Well, first of all, I self-nominated for that program because I had heard some really good things about it, and I was becoming an activist through different events that happened, Red for Ed, and I needed some honing of my activism skills into, productive leadership. So I got into that program and I felt very out of my depth because I felt like people were super accomplished and I was just a kindergarten teacher. But it really helped me look at what I could bring to the table and what I had to offer and how to channel that into creating changes that make our community better, stronger.
Yeah,
So
I kind of had the same feeling when I was there. You had people that seemed like they were going to change the world, and you were just like, "Hey, I just want to do something, make a difference. I'm not sure what it is." But you find out that you're just more than you're not just a kindergarten teacher, and you're not just a fifth grade teacher. And one day you're going to do great things, whatever it is you decide. But right now you are in a great position as the leader, the president, the grand poobah of the Scottsdale Education Association. And I heard that you won by quite the margin.
it was a landslide.
Landslide.
Yeah.
It was like a what, 95 points?
I was unopposed, so
Uh,
I didn't ask how many people didn't vote, but I got the
um,
majority, so here I am.
we joke a little bit, but again, we're talking with Becky Williams. She's the incoming president of the Scottsdale Education Association, and just a great gal. And if you have any questions, type them into the bar there. Hey, Becky, what do you tell parents? What do you tell other teachers? What's the benefit of a professional association for teachers run by teachers about education?
I think as educators, we have a lot of opportunities to network and connect in different aspects. You can connect with your grade level mates. You can connect as a staff member on your staff. You can be part of the district. But there's nothing like the connection that the AE joining the local association, the Arizona Education Association, it attaches you and connects you in a way to your profession that no other network in your profession can do. And it's the difference between going to your classroom every day and just teaching within your four walls and having a connection to your whole district, to your city, to your state, and then to the national association. It's a way to it creates avenues for advocating for the best schools for our students in a way that other professional networks don't provide.
It's good. Well, no, I think that's great. How about some of the things that you do as an association that would actually benefit the students and the parents out there? What do they need to know that perhaps because here's the thing. Let's speak honestly. People hear the word union and they think, oh my gosh, there's a guy chomping on a cigar with his feet up on the desk and he's bilking money and he's got these no bid contracts. And I look at you as a kindergarten teacher and I'm like, I don't see you chopping on a cigar. I mean,
Yeah,
so
not Jimmy Hoffa.
yeah, let's break the stereotype.
um, so I think that the AEA I see every day out there in the legislature advocating for policies that are good for our students and benefit our students. They connect to local districts everywhere to find out what districts need to just be better for our students all
Yeah,
over the state and nationally too.
right. And you kind of work on class sizes, keeping class sizes down, optimizing learning environments, making sure, I mean, teacher environments or children's environments. So it goes.
Absolutely.
Um, and it's kind of a rule book, keeps everybody on the same playing field because you can advocate for a kid, but if it becomes a difficult decision for a principal, they might want to not make that decision. And this gives you the opportunity to say, but this is what we're supposed to do. And that's not to say there are bad people in the principal positions. But
Sure.
anyway, so now you are up against trying to plan for the new school year. And we really don't know what that's going to look like. So tell me what's going on from your perspective and how you are working to advocate for the best situation.
Sure. Well, and I do want to give props to Scottsdale. I think they got out in front of this by providing a survey to the community. You can answer the survey as a parent, as an educator, as a staff member. And they're using that information. They've formed subcommittees of their crisis team, administrators, educators, classified staff, and parents have all been invited to be part of those subcommittees. There is a teaching and learning subcommittee, a social and emotional subcommittee, and a what's the other, like logistics and organization. So they're looking at all different aspects of what it could look like when we reopen, using information from the surveys that went out. And I was actually fortunate to be included in the teaching and learning. So I'm part of that process. Looking forward to how that's going to pan out, and then how we work with the other subcommittees to make a plan that, you know, no one who's making policy or making decisions has been through this before. So it's kind of creating something as I think that the facilitator of my subgroup mentioned that we're gluing the canoe together as we're rowing. So
I don't like that. You know, that's the we're flying the plane while we're building it stuff. I hate
well,
that.
it does. We don't know what the right answer is. We don't know what things are going to look like next week, let alone in August when we're supposed to start. And no matter what decision comes out of the committees, it's not going to be the right decision for everybody. I don't, you know, none of us even know. I don't know the right decision for my family right now. So having the task of creating that for an entire school district is pretty daunting. But I think that they've created some positive avenues to hear feedback and have a lot of voices at the table to do what.
Yeah. It's not a knock on what you're doing. It's a knock on when people say that kind of stuff. It bothers me. It grates on my nerves. It's like chocolate chip cookies with nuts in them, or water chestnuts in your Chinese food. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
But would you believe anyone who says they know what they're doing right now? I mean,
No.
no, no one's ever gone through this. So it's all.
No, but yeah, no, I get it. You look at the possible scenarios and you plan for those, and then you have the if-then kind of propositions. How were you selected? How were people selected for this committee?
I
Is
think
there an interview process?
No, I think and I received an email, and I was just in a network that I was communicating with. We all got emails. I think it was the last actual school day, so last Thursday. It could have been Wednesday, and there was an interest. You had to submit. It was a Google form, just an interest survey. So I think they try to look at those and pick people from a variety of levels, so that all, you know, elementary, middle school, high school were represented, and then all the employee groups were represented, and different levels of experience, bringing different ideas to that discussion.
Yeah, I used to be in your position, and one of the things we had in the employment agreement was that the association chose all the people to serve on committees. And people look at that and say, well, again, it's the guy with the feet up on the desk, chomping on the cigar, choosing his people. But actually, it's not. What you find is when people put their names in for a committee or for a position, a lot of times they have an axe to grind, and they have one particular mantra and mindset that they're going in with, and it becomes even more difficult. I mean, all voices should be heard. But when you are in there as the elementary school teacher, you represent elementary school teachers, not just yourself. And that's one of the things that we did as an association to cull people. We would do interview process to make sure that they were representing their constituents. How would they go and get feedback in that loop? So how do you get feedback? How are you getting feedback in the loop?
Well, and I would have to say that just with the absence of the employment agreement right now, there is that collective voice that SCA brings that's missing. So, you know, we didn't have any control over making sure that individuals on those committees were representing the collective voice. So it's really been tasked upon us to take questions to our staffs and ask for feedback that way. So the process hasn't been clearly defined yet. But as we go forward, I know we'll be having some mechanisms to gather feedback.
Yeah, and I talked to Dr. Menzel
Menzel.
a week ago. I think it was a week ago. I got the impression, I really liked the guy, right? That was my first impression. I think, as you talk to people, the proof is in the pudding. You don't want to just go by words, you want to go by actions. I get all that, but I got a very good feeling about him. And one of the things I impressed upon him was that, who knows if he listened to a word I said, but if things are going to be successful, it's a matter of how you go about getting to the point of starting. It's all before the starting line that will allow you to be successful if people have the buy-in. So when I hear, we're going back to, we have a person on elementary, so they go back to their staff. Well, we have 20 elementary schools. Mm-hmm. We have Title I, we have this, we have that. So I'm concerned that if there isn't proper communication and feedback, that we're going to run into, and I say we because, this is big for all of us who hold education dear, but it's going to be some problems that might spin into this cycle that shouldn't.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned Dr. Menzel. We had an opportunity as SCA leadership to meet with him, and I feel very hopeful that we have some changes on the horizon for that collective voice being more inclusive and more systematically brought to the table. We shall see.
Well, you can hope, right? I think you guys get on with your business and show who you are, no matter who's watching. It's kind of like, do your best, make believe your mom's there even when you say something, even though she's not, or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking with Becky Williams, who's the incoming president of the Scottsdale Education Association. If you have some questions you'd like to ask about maybe last year, this next year coming up, please type them into the bar. We'll get them answered. One of the questions comes from Faith, and she wants to know, are you guys as an education association going to take positions on the school board race? Are you going to endorse any candidates? Have you thought about that?
Yes, we will. We're planning to figure out how to do in this reality that we're in, virtual or however it may pan out. As soon as the candidates have to record or file, they turn in their signatures and they officially file, which I believe is July 3rd or 6th, sometime in that first week in July. We will be ready to be out the gates running to invite candidates to a forum and hear their views and then endorse from there.
Fantastic.
But I have in my mind, I know what qualities that we would like to see as an organization.
Let's talk about those qualities. What qualities are you going to look for in a school board member?
It's hard to be trustful of school board members that are running without a vested interest in the district as a community. Someone who doesn't have their children in the district, didn't grow up in the district, wasn't just probably seeming to have ulterior motives. So someone who's had a career in the district, they've grown up in the district, they're alumni of the district, they have their children in the district. Those are all reasons that someone would want to be part of the school board that's going to make decisions that move our district forward and are beneficial to the district.
That sounds pretty reasonable. I mean, people have, the altruism isn't always there, right? And people have a reason for why they do things. So finding out that reason, you can tell perhaps how they're going to decide different issues. How about legislative candidates? Are you going to take any position in endorsing candidates for, like, say, legislative district?
Is that 2023?
23. Michael Jordan.
I'm still learning the legal parameters.
Oh, good. Let's turn off the tape then.
But yes, we have our eye on some very pro public education candidates that we would love to come out and officially endorse.
Yeah, and here's my thing for all those people watching at home. November is going to happen. And this is going to be probably the most expensive school year coming to date, because if we are going to do anything to get students back to schools, it's going to take more bodies so that children are spread out, socially distanced as appropriate. We're going to need to put something into our facilities so that we're cleaning more and sterilizing and perhaps feeding more people. There's going to be more issues with social and emotional. We're going to need counselors on hand. This is a defining moment for us. And if we elect people who will strangle the budget in the name of we have a deficit coming up rather than a real deficit for the future of this generation, then we're in some trouble. So I'm going to just go on a little bird walk right here and say that if people want things done, they should volunteer for somebody's campaign. Even if it's not mine, volunteer for somebody's campaign. Pick somebody you want to win that will carry your values to the Capitol and go out and do something. It's the summertime. I know you've all worked hard, but this is the time where people are home. You could, in our campaign, we're looking for people to do 1 hour of calls 1 day a week. So if the people can afford 1 hour of 168 hours in a week, we will put them onto some calling lists. They can do them from home. You can go to curlin23.com and get that. Becky Williams. Williams. Do you get compared with anybody ever?
I'm told I look a lot like an elected official, the second highest elected office in our state.
Yeah, you are the spitting image, the twin of Katie Hobbs.
Yes.
Okay.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes. I like to say that you are she is your sister. You are not her sister. She's lucky to have you in the womb. But she's wonderful as well. And I was able to talk to her and ask her some questions. We actually have another twin coming on tomorrow. And I'm going to do a little bit of the same thing with her. And so what do you say we play a little game of twin, lose, or draw?
Ooh, part 2.0.
Yes. Part 2.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to say, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you are fluent in Spanish, and you are the Spanish-speaking component of the dual language immersion program over at Pueblo. Is that right?
So, yeah, well, yes, I taught the Spanish side for 3 years. This past year, I moved over to an English position. And I'm going to be going to Mojave to teach 6th grade, and I'm going to be teaching science in Spanish. So I will have my actual first class at Pueblo were 2nd graders, and those are the incoming 6th graders. So I will have those students again, continuing their Spanish immersion in the Mojave trajectory. So
that is really awesome. That is fantastic. My son Andy went through the first class of the English immersion program.
I knew that.
And just love the fact that Scottsdale and our public schools are able to offer this kind of a program. It's wonderful. So yeah, that should be really cool for you to see some of those kids and how they grew up. All right, twin, lose, or draw. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that the judges give a little bit of leeway on these questions, some of them. We're gonna start off with an easy one, okay? These are questions I asked the Secretary of State, and I asked her to answer them, and you are going to guess how she answered them, okay? All right.
How she answered them for herself or
for herself?
Okay.
For herself.
Not how she thinks I would answer them.
How well do you know your twin? Okay. I asked Secretary Hobbs, cake or pie?
Pie.
1 for 1. Very nice.
Oh, yay.
Okay. Let's stick with foods. What's the one food you could never bring yourself to eat?
This is what she said for herself, not, oh
yes,
boy.
Yes, ma'am.
She doesn't like goat's cheese.
Ah, really? I'm sorry, I can't give you that one. The answer we were looking for was liver.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, you're at 50%. I'm going to give you an easy one. She had some very strong feelings about this.
Okay.
In fact, she said if she was in somebody's house, she would fix the roll. Over or under
Over.
when it comes to... Whoa, that was
You're
like...
talking about the toilet paper roll?
Yes, I am.
I did not look at the questions, I promise.
No, I know. You understand that your sister has a really strong affinity for over when it comes to toilet paper. She's not afraid to change somebody's whole bathroom about it. I admire that. Okay. We asked your sister, would she rather brush her hair? I'm sorry, would she rather not brush her hair ever or her teeth?
She would rather not brush her hair.
Yeah, I think that's a gimme, right? That's a
You can do this to your hair and it could be acceptable, right?
yeah. There you go. Okay, would she rather sleep wearing handcuffs or a bike helmet?
Handcuffs.
I'm sorry, the correct
Oh,
answer was a bike helmet. That's okay. That's a tough one, right? All right. What terrible movie does she just love? This is tough. This will count for 2 points.
can you give me like a genre hint?
I can. Rom-com.
Okay.
Not much in the com, though. I would say, no, it's a drama, romantic drama.
Pretty Woman.
You would have the time of your life
Oh, what movie is that from?
up in the Catskills of New York.
Oh, Dirty Dancing. I
Yes,
knew that. Dirty Dancing.
I'm sorry, I can't give you the points for that, though.
Yeah, you had to give me too much help on that one.
You have time of my life.
Did she sing for you?
All right. I see something from my campaign manager. Please stop singing. You sound like Rod Glassman. Okay. A little insider baseball joke right there. Okay. We asked your sister, Secretary Hobbs, butchering Bill Medley, she said. Okay. Thank you so much. If you had to live in a different state than Arizona, what would it be? You are native Arizonans. What would it be?
Oh, Oregon.
I'm sorry. That is so close. California.
Okay. She has friends in California, or I mean in Oregon, and she had plans to move there long before her political career. So.
Okay, I have 2 questions left. I really
right.
want you to think back to when you were joined together in that womb, all right? Let's get down, know your twin, because right now you are on the lose side of twin lose a draw. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Okay, we asked your sister, if you could have three people for dinner from history, who would it be? And I will ask you to just name one of the 3. Give me 3 answers. If you get one, I will count this as a twin.
All no longer living?
Actually, the moderator is living, but the 3 people at the dinner table are not living.
Sigourney? No. What? Sojourner Truth?
Oh, very good. No.
Oh. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh, very good. No.
Ah.
Okay.
This is not an easy question.
I never said it was, but you guys are identical twins.
But yeah, okay. Oh man. One more person who's not alive.
Let me give you 2, and then we'll see if you can get there. Right?
Okay.
Mother Teresa. She went big. Mother Teresa, Indira Gandhi, and this lady.
Oh.
Poet.
I didn't hear. If you were trying to give me a hint, it got warbled by the internets. Mother Teresa, Gandhi. She's gonna not be happy with me that I don't know. I'm gonna be mad at myself.
Maya Angelou. You want to go for the moderator? 2016 presidential candidate, didn't win.
Well, Hillary
Got
Clinton.
the popular vote. Very good. Okay, I expect you to get this one. This is a longer answer. Put your thinking cap on. I asked your sister, what was the funniest way that she has ever been injured? Had to do with her. It's been in the 2000s.
Probably falling off a bike. Oh, you know what? She broke her knee in a legislative softball game, senators versus representatives.
Basically, she's got a hit out on a guy by the name of David Stevens, who blocked her way, landing her badly on the base and broke her leg.
I was right about the softball game? I'm
Yes,
so
a week and
excited.
it was a week and a half before she was supposed to run the Boston Marathon.
Yep, that's right.
David Stevens, if you're watching, you better watch your ass, because Katie Hobbs is after you. I'm just kidding. David Stevens, you can be free to leave now. Hey, Katie Hobbs' sister, Becky Williams. Actually, Katie Hobbs is your sister. No, you're the sister, Becky Williams.
We're sisters.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck on your stint as the president of the Scottsdale Education Association. Strong teacher voices help out when it comes to strong teachers leading their classes. So, wish you the best. Ring me up. Can you do a little dancing while we shake off of
Oh,
this?
I don't know if you want to see me dance.
I do. Come on. Had the time of my life.
Please don't
and
sing.
I never